when the first one comes to me, I would say, ask her out, see what she says. And then when the second guy comes to me, I would say, ask her out, see what she says. And then if the second one says, but Carl just asked her out, say, I don't care. They're not boyfriend and girlfriend. Ask her out, see what she says. She'll date whichever one of you that she likes. There's probably neither of you. So
real.
Honestly, it's like these types of things are just not a big deal because there's this idea amongst men that like women are like incapable of making complex decisions. And so it's like, well, only one of us can go and talk to her because women can only handle being courted by one man at a time. And it's like, no, she can deal with it.
She'll figure it out.
She'll figure it out, you know? So like stop
she's
making the decision for her. You know, like that's kind of a weird, honestly problematic decision.
I know it hurts. I'm sorry. Go on. All right, you came to the right place, you ding dong. It's called communication, baby.
Welcome to The Crunch, the only podcast hosted by two guys that are actually way deeper and more intellectual than we seem on the surface. It's your boy, Ethan.
And I'm Patrick. And I like books.
I like books.
And another thing.
And other things.
Another thing.
I like books and other stuff, and I'm like cool, and I'm sensitive, and I'm deep.
I don't care about class.
No, it doesn't matter. I don't care about the Super Bowl. I care about us, babe. I don't care.
Ethan and I were talking about a famous novel, doesn't matter which, but Ethan was like talking about a plot point that I haven't gotten to yet where the rich nobility guy falls in love with a woman of lower station and says, I don't care about class. I want to marry her anyway. Yeah. Which is not noble.
It's even better. It's even better. I don't care what my father thinks. I will marry. It's even better than I don't care about class. It's my dad. That's the problem.
That's someone who you know. That's what happens when we go this far away. That's like when someone who's very in post-liberal, like in the West, writes a romance between two classes, and the upper class man doesn't care about being with the lower station. That happened all the time. Are you kidding me? That happened all the time.
It happens every time Leonardo DiCaprio gets a new girlfriend. It happens.
It happens.
It occurs.
That happens. Yeah, that's true. That happens all the time now. Currently, it's right. Lower station women marrying upper class. It happens all the time for one.
Right. This is actually a way reason. For women to gain status is by finding a higher class man. You can find this in every Tolstoy novel. You can find this in every Dostoevsky novel. You can find this in any Dickens novel, right? Mm-hmm. The reason that a lot of Dickens characters couldn't succeed is because they were low-class men and they were stuck. And famously, the women in these books did well because they were perfect, which is a flaw that he does. He just writes these ladies to be perfect. Yeah. But they're able to move up in the world. You know, this is a trope. And so when a modern science fiction fantasy author who's very popular uses the trope, it's like, come on. It's like, come on, man.
And it's written as if it's a virtue in the character and not a common. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not important. I have a problem.
What's that problem?
I got a problem with I have an issue that I want to know if you can help me with. Okay.
This is great. Starting off the podcast with conflict is a great way to draw in the listener.
Yes. So here's my issue. Since August of 2023, I have been exercising 3 to 4 times a week with iron and steel implements. Okay. Yeah. And I've been gaining muscle in sort of my my pectoral is what I meant to say.
Yes. Yeah.
Pectoral and biceptical regions. Mm-hmm. And I'm getting larger, which is fun.
Yeah.
But the problem I've experienced lately is I go to bed at night and I lay down. And like what I used to be able to do is I would just kind of I would lay on my stomach and I would like tuck my arms underneath me and I would be able to like fall asleep. But now I've got muscles in the way. Yeah. So I used to be able to just curl up and I would go like my arm would compress. It would just be flat. But now it's like if I stick my arm under me, which I've done my whole life. Like I just kind of cram my arm under there when I fall asleep. Now it feels like I'm laying on rocks, which is a cool problem to have.
Yeah.
But I don't want to sleep on my back like like some kind of freak. So I just don't know.
My sleep is I sleep on my back with I do a weird thing with my arm too. Yeah? I throw this arm just over like this.
Uh-huh.
And you know who else does that? My son. My son sleeps like this. Phoebe has a picture of the two of us, I think somewhere, us laying down.
Yeah.
Like both like this.
Do you know how Peter sleeps? He hits with this when he goes to bed. He goes.
No way.
Yeah.
He's just chilling.
He puts both hands behind his head, like he's on the beach when he's sleeping.
He's got a mocktail right next to him.
I would do that if it would not plant an elbow squarely in my wife's temple. We're sleeping in a. I mean, we're not in a king. We're in a queen.
I sleep in a queen.
You sleep and you have you stick your arm over your head and it doesn't thwap your wife.
Yeah, well, it's usually this arm and she's on this side, so that's.
I have a question. So you put your arm over your eyes like this, and it kind of goes up. Do you do that like when you lay down in bed and you're like still awake? You just take your arm up like this and you just wait to fall asleep?
It's soothing.
What?
Yeah, it soothes me. It's how I take naps too. It's too bright. So it's like when cowboys put their hats over their eyes. I'm kind of like a cowboy, but I like books.
I want to be a cowboy, baby. Have you considered one of those like eye masks?
I've worn those on aeroplanes, but I would never wear one. I would never wear one in bed, lest we never have another child again.
Lest. What does that
I would
mean?
Look like too much of a dork. My wife would not.
She wouldn't find you sensual.
She would not find me attractive anymore.
There would be no procreation.
We're already hanging on by a thread here.
Hold on. That's not true.
No, it's not.
That's not true.
I'm a very hunky fella.
Yeah.
Who likes books.
Yeah. And I've seen you. There's more than a thread going on there. You're a whole ass rope, my man.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Yeah.
That's what I wish. I wish I was 6'2" like you.
Yeah.
So that I could be like a.
By the way, Ethan was talking about all of me, not.
That's ridiculous.
By the way,
that's true. I didn't mean it like that.
A bunch of people were just like, "Oh God,
whoa,
the podcast just took a turn."
This is a different. No, I was just meaning that you're well built, like a rope, as opposed to a thread. That's all.
Yeah.
But I reckon for those of you,
for
those of you out there that are freaking have a messed up or totally messed up and sick and twisted mind, man. Doesn't matter what I was going to say now. I saw a video on Twitter of boats in like the harbor, and they get attached to the dock with these huge ropes, and sometimes the boats will kind of sway, and like the water will naturally pull it away, and you see these huge ropes go taut really fast. It's actually pretty scary, because they're like big strong ropes, and that's what I was thinking of when I was thinking of you. You're like a guy. Yeah. That like if like you could hold on to one of those metal poles and keep a boat from floating away.
I probably could, yeah.
It probably would actually rip your legs out from the rest of your body. But until that happened, you would do a great job.
I'd do a great job. I would actually hold the boat I would hold the pole with my legs, and then I would hold the boat with my big meaty arms, like Captain America.
Right.
And then while the boat is going away, I would do that thing he does where he switches so his bicep That's my favorite part of that movie. Do you remember that scene?
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's the scene that inspired me to start working out.
When he's holding the helicopter and he like switches, like he lets go of the helicopter as if the helicopter would remain in place while he's switching. Yeah. The helicopter is moving with force that would take it,
it would
hundreds
take him
of
away.
miles an hour in that direction.
But he's really strong.
So he was able to make it say, "Hey, pause for a second." While I just switch to my biceps.
It's like when you're playing tag with your friends and you're like, everybody freeze. I have invincibility.
I have invincibility until my mom's calling me. I have invincibility until she ends the call.
Well, here's the thing. You don't have invincibility on this podcast because this is a show. This is Dr. Ethan's Dating Corner, and people write in their dating questions, and it's Valentine's Day. And so we're out for blood. We're out for love. We're out
I got my wife a Stanley Cup full of blood for Valentine's Day. I got her a Stanley Cup, but
cool.
I
haven't gotten my wife anything yet.
Happy Lent. Happy Lent.
Happy Lent, honey.
So if you're listening to this podcast,
we're having sleep for dinner.
You guys listen to this podcast. This is technically a Catholic podcast. So if you gave up non-Catholic podcasts for Lent, this podcast you can listen to. So allow us to be your cheat podcast this Lent. And we are going to, on this Dr. Ethan's Dating Corner, this is an episode of our show called The Crunch, where we answer your dating questions. What? You okay? Is everything okay?
I'm good. The internet cut out. The internet cut out for a second, but we're back. Yep.
Okay. This is a show called Dr. Ethan's Dating Corner. It's where we answer your questions. We have a show on Sundays called The Crunch, and so many people sent us in dating questions that we just answer a bunch. If you want to get your questions answered almost immediately by our amazing listeners, and then by us on the show later, you can go to bit.ly/crunch-discord, and you can join our community. And right there on that community, you can go to the Dating Corner channel and you can just ask your question. It'll get answered right away. But for now, we have some questions that have been submitted by our listeners a long time ago. And I want to let's not ask that question. Ben, our amazing mod Ben, he pre-screens them and flags them for me.
What a guy.
This one's about like, never mind, I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
This one comes from Crab Rangoon. Our friend Crab Rangoon.
Active member of the Discord, Crab Rangoon. Yes. A lady, if you can believe it.
A lady. Full disclosure, I am not... Oh, wait.
A woman.
Have the guys talked about dating a non-Catholic on the pod? Does anyone know? And Ben said, as far as I can tell, they have not answered a question, but time is ripe. And then Crab Rangoon said, oh boy, here goes. Full disclosure, I'm not dating right now, but I am currently getting to know a guy who is an Adventist. Seventh-day Adventist. People who go to church on Saturday. That's kind of all I know about them.
There's not much else
Jesus
to know
God?
as far
They
as
do.
I'm aware.
They believe Jesus is God.
I think so, yeah. I'm pretty
We
sure.
get along. That's Jehovah's Witnesses, I'm thinking. We get along really well, but have both said we are not open to dating right now since our lives are too chaotic. That being said, if circumstances changed and he asked, I would certainly go on a date with him. Long term, I don't think I could marry someone who isn't Catholic, though. So is it fair to even give him a chance? He seems to be a serious Christian. I've been praying for him. So far in my life, I've never met anyone who wasn't Catholic that I would consider dating. But it's early. Thanks. Dr. Ethan.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't think there's any... I mean, the official stance of this podcast is that there's nothing wrong with going on a date with someone. You know? I think... Even if you think that there's no chance that you will marry this person, it's nice to go out with people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's nice to go get dinner. It's nice to go play Super Monkey Ball on the GameCube with someone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know? For Monkey Mondays. That's what I'm doing for Lent is Monkey Mondays.
we gotta really I was talking to
I'm gonna
a client.
Reactivate the Twitch just for Lent
Monkey
and just every Monday go live, no warning, no explanation, playing a different monkey themed game. That's my plan.
Balloons Tower Defense.
Balloons Tower Defense. Balloons Tower Defense 2. Balloons Tower Defense 3.
Donkey
Balloons
Kong
Tower
Country.
Defense 4. Yes. Oh man, that'd be fun. I'm in.
I speaking of Lenten themed days, Meat Island Thursday is tomorrow. If you're listening to this. I was talking to a client and they said, let's meet on February 15th. On February 15th. And I was like, I can't say that. You're not Catholic. You wouldn't even get it. And then I proceeded to explain it to him. And I was like, so I call it Meat Island Thursday. He's like, oh, is that like a thing in the church? I'm like, no.
No,
this is not a thing in the Catholic Church. This is a thing in my mind.
Yeah.
The Thursday between Ash Wednesday and the Friday after where you can eat meat is Meat Island Thursday, by the way. Sorry.
So
back to the question.
I wouldn't be afraid of going on a date because dates are fun. And if you guys like each other, just go have a good time. But if at a certain point the guy says, hey, I would like to seriously date you and I want you to be my girlfriend. I want to go steady with you. I want to give you a promise ring, you know.
I want to give you my Letterman jacket.
Yeah, I want you to wear my Letterman jacket around because I'm powerful. So at that point, then it would be then it would be an appropriate thing to say, well, I can really only see myself marrying someone that's Catholic. And because of that, I would hate to like get into a serious relationship with someone who isn't Catholic or who isn't open to being Catholic. Is that a deal breaker for you? And then if he says, no, it's not a deal breaker, then you clarify. You're like, so you'd be willing to become Catholic, or at the very least, like learn more about becoming Catholic.
Yeah.
Look into it. And if he says yes, then it's like, great, you're golden. You know, like,
ding,
so
ding,
never close the door. Like people always say when God closes a door, he opens a window. You know?
But I don't see him paying any electric bills.
You just took my tweet.
It's a good one. It's a good tweet. I like it.
Thanks. Yeah, don't worry about it. But also, like, it's not even real yet, so there's nothing to worry about. He might never ask you out. But I think on the whole, going on dates is fine. Going on dates with non-Catholic people is fine. But if that's really an important thing to you that you don't get into a serious relationship with someone, just say that. That's the crazy thing is you can just say, I don't want to do a serious relationship with you if you're not Catholic. Okay. You know, and then that's it. And if he really likes you, if he really wants the Crab Rangoon, you know, that's her name on the chat. I feel
that's
like
her name. Yeah.
If he really wants to get General Tso's chicken with a side of Crab Rangoon, then that's up to him.
Crab Rangoon is kind of slap. Although, did you know this? Did you know that Chinese food in Florida is universally bad?
I think Chinese food most places is universally bad.
No. Chinese food
in
Steubenville, Ohio was great.
All right,
Sesame Grill was fantastic. Okay. Chinese food when
Don't let Larry David go there.
Chinese food in Pittsburgh was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved to Florida, and all Chinese food I've had, pretty much all Chinese food I've had has been bad.
Really?
So it's a shame. Yeah.
We had an interesting moment a couple weeks ago where Emma said to me, she says, Ethan, let's go get some Chinese food. But it wasn't me. It was our pregnant neighbor. And she's like, I'm really craving Chinese food. Can you go pick some up? Because her husband was at the fire station. So I was like, yeah, I'll go get Chinese food. So I bring back the Chinese food and I order a little Crab Rangoon because I'm like, I like a Crab Rangoon. But I forget that my wife doesn't like seafood. And she's like, I can't eat this. And I'm like, why? It's just cream cheese in there. She's like, no, it's Crab Rangoon. I say they just say that because it looks like a crab. They're like, there's no crab meat in it. And she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. And then she looks it up. Apparently, I didn't know this. There's crab in the Crab Rangoon.
There's imitation crab meat in the Crab Rangoon.
Yeah. And I tried to get out on the technicality, right? Like I was like, oh, it's just like it's not real seafood. It just tastes like seafood. So really we should be home.
Therein lies the problem. If seafood didn't taste like seafood, she would like it.
Right. Yeah. I tried to get out of that one, but I had to eat all of the Crab Rangoon because no one else ate any and I bought it. So I was like, I stuck there just eating them. And I was like, man, this was a mistake. If only I was Adventist. You know,
how much?
That's true.
How much Crab Rangoon did you order?
I think we got like 8 of them. So
That's
too
much.
I know.
Like if I really try it.
Yeah, it was a mistake.
I'm hungry.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a shame because I crave Chinese food like on the reg, and I just can't get it anywhere where I'm like, this is good. You know?
Yeah.
It's funny. There's a line in The Office about this. There's like, welcome to Florida, disgusting. Home of alligators and some of the worst Chinese food you ever tasted. I didn't get it when I was a kid because that was the only Chinese food I ever had. And then I moved somewhere else. I was like, this is fantastic. Moved back. I was like, oh, man.
Oh, man.
It's got to be something in like the supply chain, you know?
The supply chain? It's closer to the ocean.
The Florida supply, most of it's chicken. All right, first of all, there's no chicken in the sea. That's
this is so funny. Chinese food is all imported from China. That's why it's so good in California and so bad.
That's why
it's
so good in California and in New York because they have Express, but they just don't. Right. The supply chain just doesn't hit.
Well, in New
Florida.
York they have Chinatown. right? Like it's
so
they have an embassy, so you could just go down and get it, like right
easier.
there. Yeah,
it's easier that way.
It's different. What if that worked everywhere?
That all Chinese food is imported.
In like London, do they have like America Town? Like it's weird that
London
there's a Chinatown.
does have like American restaurants. That is
no,
true.
but do they have like a place where you go where it's only American people live there and they celebrate the 4th of July?
London is a bad
It's like a really big deal.
Oh, the internet.
And there's a bunch of oh, okay. And there's just a bunch of burger restaurants. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they don't have that. Like there's no Chinatown is its only thing.
Mm-hmm.
I want there to be America Town everywhere.
They did have that in Jerusalem. There was like a neighborhood that was like mostly expats. Remember?
I do remember that. You went there.
Yeah.
To buy walnuts or something. None of the rest of us went there.
No. I went to the part of town that was mostly Hasidic Jews, and they were not pleased that I was there. There was a big sign that basically said, "Do not come here." Yeah. And I went, and it said no groups. And I was like, well, I'm not with a group. It's just me.
Right.
And a couple other people. But that
big sign. Big sign when you walk in that says cut or uncut. And you have to like answer honestly to get it.
You have to answer honestly.
Yeah.
They have a CAPTCHA, but for circumcision.
Oh, gosh.
Please select all foreskins.
Oh, Patrick.
Oh, come on.
That is, I can't believe you would say something like that on our podcast. That is gross. That is a gross misuse of the medium for you to go that far. How dare you? Actually, how dare you say something like that? Frankly, man. I'm disgusted. All right, let's got to do another question. We've only done one question. We're 20 minutes into the show.
That's awesome. That's exactly what I want. All right, this is from oh geez, Discord's loading. This one is from a really long one from Gluten Free Princess.
Okay.
Hey y'all, could use some advice. Me and this guy at my parish have had this flirting thing going on for about a month and a half. He definitely treats me different than the other girls at my parish. We often have long talks after mass. He walks me to the car. This is a lot. There's a list of things that he does. So walking to the car, hugs that are too long. I like him. After talking with some of the members, they all think that he likes me too. However, on Sunday, he brought another girl to mass. He introduced her to everyone and said they met at class in their college. But after a few conversations, it was obvious she was not there to learn more about the faith, but to flirt with him. The entire friend group was shocked that he would do this, as going to mass together is generally seen as the first step in courting. Everyone thought that he and I liked each other, but on Sunday he acted like I didn't even exist. It was so embarrassing to be sitting at the table between everyone, their eyes darting back and forth between her and me. Even this is cinematic. I love this.
I know.
Their eyes darting back and forth between her and me. Even the guys in our group were thinking, "Who is this girl? Who is she?" She continued to ask questions that make us feel like aliens. So you guys don't think it's so selfish to have so many kids? The guy didn't seem to pick up at all that she was flirting with him. She was all over him physically, and that she was offending the other girls in our friend group. Honestly, taking my feelings out of it, she was just throwing off the whole vibe of our squad, and everyone felt weird since everyone has been
not the vibe squad.
I know. Ugh. Since everyone has been wanting and expecting him to ask me out soon. I'm not convinced that he likes her. I think that she just has a crush on him, and he cluelessly invited her to mass, not realizing she would say yes to anything or hang out with him. My friend said she would call him later this week and talk to him about it. Don't. Bad move. She doesn't need to be involved. Sorry. Yeah. But I'm not sure what to think or feel. I even texted him and said, "How long have you and blank been dating?" to see if it was true. And he said they aren't. They're just friends. Man, bad move. Foul. Wow. Foul.
This is hurt feelings. That's a violation.
You should have written into the podcast before you and your friend did these things.
I know. That's a flagrant one. That's an automatic technical for the other team. Man.
He said that they aren't. They're just friends, and he wants her to be part of our friend group. I'm very confused by his behavior and how oblivious he seems to my feelings. Welcome to womanhood. I'm sorry. This is just how it is.
This is part of it.
I've heard this is part of it. I wouldn't know. I'm oblivious.
No, I'm a big boy.
I'm very confused by his behavior and how he acted on Sunday and how she was acting towards us. Any advice would be appreciated. Sorry, this one is long. I've been trying to give signals. I was hoping he would approach me first. We've been friends for 6 months now, spent a lot of time talking. The general consensus among my friends is that he's clueless. He does not seem to be the type to be a player or do something like that on purpose. Thanks, Gluten Free Princess.
We need to have like a communication button that I can just push.
We do. It's there's an emoji on our Discord that says communication.
Yeah. It's like you did everything except actually talk to him. You found every possible solution to this problem except for you're like, my kitchen's on fire. Well, maybe if I go and talk to the neighbor about what to do when the kitchen's on fire, and maybe if I go fill up a cup of water in the bathroom upstairs, I'll go fill up a cup of water in the bathroom upstairs, and then that would be like a good thing to have on hand. And then I'll go outside, and then maybe I'll call the police. I'll call the police to see if they can get in touch with the fire department, and then I'll order a fire extinguisher on Amazon, and that's good. You did everything except solve the problem. What are you doing?
The only thing she didn't do was find the girl's house and go through her trash.
Right.
That's what you should do next.
Yeah. That's true. That's a good idea. Try to see if you can find her social security number on some debris outside of her home. Because once it's in the trash can and there's no lock on it, it's public property, right? So
and then steal her identity, call the guy and be like, hi, this is Vanessa. I can prove it. This is my date of birth. Do you like me or do you like gluten-free princess? Yeah.
I think this is a good idea. And then you become a member of her family, and then her dad becomes your dad. And then you go to Disney World together, and then you confess it at Space Mountain, but it's too loud, and so he doesn't hear, and then you're too afraid to say it ever again. And then you get left behind, and then Gaston becomes your new dad. And then you have to figure out a way to get home. And
that is what happens at Disney World. If you get left behind, they just assign you to one of the characters, and they become
produced by A24.
Oh man.
So
yeah, but no, we've all been there. We've all confessed our love to someone on Space Mountain.
Yeah. Why haven't you talked to him? Why haven't you said you could call him right now and say, "Hey, Brian, I'm just a little confused, and I apologize for my passive aggressive text that I sent to you earlier, but I was under the impression that you liked me and you were, like you were flirting with me, and I was hoping that you were going to ask me out. And you brought this other girl around, and you seemed to be really interested in her and said you wanted her to join our friend group. This was kind of confusing to me because I thought that you were flirting with me. Were you actually flirting with me, or was I misreading those signals? Because I'm feeling somewhat hurt and confused." And then you let him explain the situation, because we don't know because Brian's probably not thinking. Brian doesn't have anything.
Just a guy.
You open up Brian's skull and there's cobwebs and bats fly out of it. Like there's not anything.
He's a college boy, okay?
Yeah.
He saw a pretty girl and wanted to hang out with her, and he doesn't like her. She's just pretty, and he likes being around pretty girl. Make him feel good in caveman brain. This happens, right?
I've done almost this exact same thing. Did I tell you the story about the girl in the statistics class and then the girl with the model that I met? Did I tell this story on the podcast?
You told Katie Ruby about this, and I listened to you tell her and not me about it. But yeah.
So 2 weeks ago,
story.
I said this on the podcast. I did this exact same thing where I was flirting with a girl, and then I met a model, and then I friended her on Facebook, and I told everybody about how I friended this model on Facebook, and then the girl from statistics class didn't want to sit with me anymore. We still went to prom, but that's where it ended. So it's not important. But this guy is probably just thinking like
a great example of how dudes fumble the bag.
They fumble the bag. This guy was probably thinking, I have struggled to feel affirmation from women my whole life. And now all of a sudden, not only do I have a girl that I like that likes me back at church, but there's also this girl from class that likes me, that wants to spend time with me. Why don't I just maximize this feeling as much as I can? Is probably what he's subconsciously thinking.
I want both of them to be part of my friend group.
Right. Because
I
this
want
just
to have
feels
two
good.
women that like me in my circle. Yeah.
Yeah. I think dispatching your friend to be a go-between is a bad idea. You just need to talk to him. Girl, you gotta saddle up,
Girl, wash your face.
Girl, wash your face.
You are a badass at making money.
You are a slay queen, and you can
the subtle art of not giving a frick.
I
should have named the book
freaking
That's funnier.
Love bacon.
Science. What'd you say?
Science. I said bacon.
I love epic bacon strip. Girl, boss, slay.
You need to epic bacon strip this. So you need to
I
eat
got a
and leave no
tattoo,
crumbs. It's giving girl boss.
I got a tattoo of a mustache on my finger right at the end of this trend, and now it's stuck there.
Yes. You need to be mother in this situation. You need to I'm running out of slang. But you just got to own this. You got to be brave and you got to What were you going to say?
I wasn't going to say anything.
Uh-huh. That's all the advice that we have is like this is great. Mm-hmm. This is a good problem to have. Keep your friends out of it. Don't get the friends involved. Because, like, if all of your friends are really like, this is weird to me. Like, all the friends are like, oh, we were all waiting for him to ask you out. But, like, none of them said anything to him. I just don't understand the dynamic that's at play here.
Yeah,
you know?
Don't give your friends license to get involved at the beginning of your relationship because then they will feel the permission to get involved in the middle and the end of your relationship.
Yeah.
You don't want to give them license to be involved in your relationship.
No. And they're also probably just taking your side because they're your friends and you're bringing it up. And
yeah.
But then also if Brian was like, hey, isn't it crazy that gluten-free princess isn't like, they're like, yeah, I mean, this is crazy. Like, I think she was waiting to ask you out, but now she doesn't like you anymore. Like, people are just going to say things that aren't true, even if they're your friends, because nobody knows anything about what's going on. Yeah. So you got to take the lead.
They got their own stuff going on. They got their own Brians and gluten-free princesses.
Yeah. So this will all work out. I assume you're in college because that's the only way any of this makes sense. Probably not, but who knows? I don't have any other advice, Patrick. I think that's
the only advice that I got.
That's sufficient for today.
Let's end on a funny one.
Okay, this is a quick one because I gotta pack my bags and get the heck out of here.
We did get a dating question from Carl, our weatherman friend. I do want to answer his question.
I think it deserves more time than what we could give at the moment.
I think so too. He had a really good question, and we gotta pour one out for Carl. If any attractive women like weathermen and liars, you should reach out to Carl.
Yeah.
Carl said he was a weatherman. Funny. He was not a weatherman, but he
was
weatherman
like, for business.
Anyway. Yeah. What should I do? I am a guy. I have 2 friends requesting advice about asking out the same girl. Both have asked for me to keep their situation confidential. For context, everyone involved is an upperclassman in college or a master's degree student. Thanks. If he has a master's degree, it's too late. Give her to the guy who still has hope.
What does that mean? What are you trying to say?
If he's in grad school, it's too late. Give her to the guy who's not going to get a postgraduate degree.
Yeah, grad school is kind of like the death knell for a guy. If you go and get a master's, it's over for you.
Yeah, you're not. If you have a master's degree, you're not gonna make it.
Yeah, I hate to say it, unfortunately. I don't know what else to add on this one.
I have a master's degree. No, Ethan, it's a good question. I was just explaining that to the audience, so they're not like offended.
Yeah.
If you have 2 people, first of all, it's tough. Like they're sworn to secrecy. You have two people. Let's say you have 2 friends, 2 of your disciples from Focus. They come up to you. They both like the same girl. They want advice. 2 people. They're like, should I ask this girl out? What do you say?
Two people? And they both want to ask the girl out.
They both want to ask out the same girl. They're asking you for advice individually. They don't know about each other.
You can't get involved. You know what I mean? You got to stay out of it. You can't I don't know. I would say, why are you putting me in this position? You know? I would probably tell both of them, just ask her out. Figure it out.
No. They're not asking you together. They're asking you separately. So both of the guys have come to you separately, and they're and you're like, oh no, they both want my advice about this girl, and I know that another guy likes her.
Right. When the first one comes to me, I would say, ask her out, see what she says. And then when the second guy comes to me, I would say, ask her out, see what she says. And then if the second one says, but Carl just asked her out, say, I don't care. They're not boyfriend and girlfriend. Ask her out, see what she says. She'll date whichever one of you that she likes. There's probably neither of you. So
real.
Honestly, it's like these types of things are just not a big deal because there's this idea amongst men that like women are like incapable of making complex decisions. And so it's like, well, only one of us can go and talk to her because women can only handle being courted by one man at a time. And it's like, no, she can deal with it.
She'll figure it out.
She'll figure it out, you know? So like stop
she's
making the decision for her. You know, like that's kind of a weird, honestly problematic decision.
It's 2024, so you should probably listen to a few Taylor Swift songs and then think about what you've done.
So if I was in that position, I would say to both of them, ask her out. That's not for you to decide. That's not for me to decide. You know, I think you should be brave. And if you're too scared to ask her out, then okay, great. You've given up then.
Sorry.
Yeah. Be a man. Don't be a boy.
Estovere.
Be the man.
The blog that Ethan and I.
Estovere. What a throwback phrase. People used to be saying that all the time, man.
People, yeah, dude.
Not anymore. Latin is old hat.
Latin is dead. Truly. It died its second death.
Yeah. Imagine Trump gets up for the 2024 debate, starts speaking in Latin.
People will think he's possessed. That's what'll happen.
Miserere cordier.
Agricola puellam amat.
Dona nobis.
Agricola puellam amat is like the Latin version of Donde está la biblioteca. Like it's like
really?
The first,
that's funny.
Yeah, the first
phrase that you learn
sentence
in
you learn
class.
is the farmer loves the girl.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be funny.
The farmer should freaking ask her out then. Jeez.
The farmer should ask her out, man. I don't have anything else. You guys got to figure this out, man. You got to stop asking us questions, man. You guys got to go figure it out, man. It's just two podcasters trying to help you, and we're doing our best.
And we're killing it.
Are we?
This episode of The Crunch is sponsored by the Good Egg Fund. Go to goodeggfund.org to give at a monthly level or to get a grant to go do some cool things in your city.
Yes.
The episode is also sponsored by us. Go to crunchcast.com/toolkit to find out how to have conversations with your friends about your faith. Ethan, do you have anything else for the people?
I'm excited. I get to go on the road tonight for business, which means I get to buy a little drink at the gas station on the company card.
On the company card.
It's very excited.
Little treat for Ethan.
Little treat for me. Black cherry kickstart, man. Nothing like it.
Oh gosh, you're gonna drink a black cherry. You're gonna drink a Mountain Dew energy drink at 9 p.m.
If they put guys on the moon in 2024, there would be cans of black cherry kickstart instead of cigarettes all over the place. I'm just saying. If I was in charge of that control room, it wouldn't go down the way that it went down.
Oh, I see. The guys who went to the moon didn't bring cigarettes with them.
No. Like in the control room when they're all like doing math to figure out how to sling Tom Cruise around the sun or whatever.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I combined the movie Sunshine with the movie
Slingshot
Apollo
around
13.
the moon. It is a trope in space travel, but that's because that's the only cool thing that's happened in space. Everything else went perfectly or was a fireball before they got to space.
Sunshine, Apollo 13, The Martian. I'm pretty sure Interstellar has this.
Interstellar
it's
did
like,
it, yeah.
Come on, guys. Come on.
But
Sunshine, a great movie, though.
There's only been one problem. Houston only had one problem. And the problem was, oh no, we need to slingshot around the moon.
Yeah.
I don't think you can do that with anything bigger than the moon. You would just get stuck in orbit of the planet, you know?
Yeah.
Also, that's not how slingshots work.
Thankfully, we haven't slung anything into the moon larger than up. All right. Thank you all for listening. Please pray for us. We'll be praying for you. We'll see you all next week. This is the end of the episode.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Talk to your crush. Be brave for once.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye.